you want to be able to make these decisions for yourselves. Now, the thing with nutrition is there's so much information out there that is conflicting. You know, somebody goes slimmer, lose weight, someone does, you know, fasting, they lose weight, somebody's doing this mad, you know, fucking weight loss pills thing, and it can get really, really confusing. Now, I don't want to sit here and talk very technical today about like calories in, calories out. I think that would be at the death. We have tons of information on the website. There's a webinar for an hour if you want to bore yourself listening to me even more. There's loads of resources out there, and what I want to do today is to more or less everyone to leave with a plan in their head of what they need to do. Now that's difficult because we're all individual, but there's only a certain amount of things that are holding us back from achieving it. So the very, very simple question is, because at the end of the day I think this is pretty much answered, are you getting results? Yes or no? Like, I want to simplify this as simple as possible. And only you are going to know that answer. Okay? Now, most people, if they are going to come to the events, it's pretty much they're aiming here. Okay? And at the end of the day, if we looked at yes, keep doing what you're doing. Like, it's really not rocket science. Right? Now, if it's a no, then you want to look at what's causing you not to get results. Okay, because at the end of the day, what I have is there's only really 3 or 4 things that's holding you back. 1, lack of knowledge. 2, support in the environment that you're around. 3, like exercise or whatever you're doing. And 4, you're not actually fucking taking action on the information you know. So knowledge is classified as the most powerful thing in the world. It's not. Knowledge without action is nothing. Knowledge with action, moving forward. It's as simple as that, because at the end of the day, like I said, we know calories in, calories out matter. We know that certain foods are more nutritious than other foods. There is no good or bad foods. And then it's just, where the fuck do we start? Because at the end of the day, if we have a goal in mind, if I want to lose a stone, what does that look like? What's the time frame I have? What do I need to do to achieve that goal on a week by week basis? What do I need to do on a daily basis? Now the problem with that is, and I spoke to Megan and so before, when we were coming up with the core values of what we want to do at Hybrid, the education, the impact, I remember, I can't remember off the top of my head who it was that said to me, but I was like, listen, I want to educate you about your food so you make better choices. And he went, whoa, let me stop you, RPJ. I work a stressful 9 to 5. I have 3 kids in the house. I just want to turn up here, you tell me what to do, and that's it, game over. And that really hit home with me, because at the end of the day, you are busy, you do have kids, you do have commitments, you do have life, and when we're piling that pressure on you, well, not piling the pressure on, at some point you're looking for an escape, and a lot of times it's going to be a social situation. It's either going to be alcohol, it's going to want to have a day out, or somewhere we're going to let your hair down. Okay? And we don't want you to not have that. That's obviously why we have the barbecue on, and we're trying to do different events. It's more of a social aspect. So when we leave today, I want you to maybe only have 1 or 2 things that you need to focus on, not being overwhelmed by a million things. Does that make sense? Okay. So at the end of the day, if you're not getting results, something needs to change. So knowledge, support. So hands up, who thinks that the reason why they're not getting results is a lack of knowledge? Just be honest. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Be honest. Right. So what is it specifically that you're lacking in terms of knowledge? Is it the right foods to eat? Is it when to eat? Is it the, you know, is this good or not? What is it? In your interpretation, because everyone's different. I'm going to go around.
So I have tried quite a few different techniques, like, you know, the fasting and, you know, workouts, and nothing's really, I want to be sustainable. I have lost weight here, which is great, but I just want to be sustainable. I don't know whether it's to eat a certain, like, every 4 hours, so I'm looking at the moment, and it's all right, but I'm not losing, I'm just kind of plateauing at the moment, and I want to find something that's going to make me lose a bit more, and then be sustainable. So I've tried starving, but I can't do it with my work, it just doesn't work with my lifestyle. So I just want more knowledge on what results you can get with different types of eating patterns and stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
Also snacks.
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 Love snacks.
Good snacks.
Again, the thing is, I know Claire from previous, from working up in the PDC, and she's obviously been training and looking after food for a long time. Now, she's a classic case because every time we spoke about food, we talked about like, I know what to eat, I need to be eating X, Y, and Z. The reason why when I go into a seminar, I don't tell people what to eat is because everyone who's in here know what to eat. If I ask you what you should be eating, you need to be eating more fruit, you need to be eating more veg, probably need to be eating more protein. You know the answer. So I'm not going to stand here and belittle you. The case, sawdust, air, and coffee. So you know exactly what to eat. What's happening is, and again I'm talking about it on previous slides and of nutrition seminars, is inherently as human beings we want things to be black and white. And nutrition is very, very not black and white. There's a lot of grey areas. People are on different calories, people like different foods, you know, people are on shift work, so their eating patterns are all over the place. So the first thing that you want to address if you are one of these people, so Philip, I'll ask you first, what's your take on your lack of knowledge of nutrition? Because I'd say you're an educated man, for being a principal. Can't even answer that.
Yeah, okay, 15. I eat what I like. I've always had what I want to eat. And I've never actually tried to eat out of that, eat something that I don't know I don't like even, or so I just eat. I'm the one who shops, I'm the one who cooks. So I will buy the food that I want to eat, I will cook the food that I want to eat. And that doesn't change, it's never changed in years. So knowledge wise I probably need to learn some new tricks, new food.
You got a pen there?
Do I have a pen?
Write down your email address for me. Just as you're talking, just write it down.
I'm finished one.
Right. So straight away I thought of something that is going to benefit you massively. Okay. I don't know if you've ever heard of a book called Food Moves My Cheese. Yeah. Very world famous book. Yeah. Very, very simple story. If you ever get it on audio book, really, really easy to read. It's only a half an hour story. And it's a great way to explain. I'll not ruin it for you. But I'm going to send you this book. Right? It's obviously not about nutrition, but more mindset and stuff like that there. So I don't think that you're lacking knowledge per se. It's maybe change. And change is something that nobody likes. Like I always say, from you're a kid, your parents are telling you, eat your veg, do this, do that. When you get to a certain age, no one's telling you what to do anymore. Except we're trying to tell you not to drink beer. Over 60.
And the beer word here. But right, so
yeah.
Having said that, there are limitations to that. So a wife who's celiac, a son who's dairy intolerant, an autistic child who eats very limited. So sometimes I'm cooking 3 and every 4 meals, and it's not that I'm the victim in it. I cook what's easy for me then, because I'm trying to do that. So that's yours, that's yours, that's yours. I cook what I want then at that point. So it's not, as you said, it's not as black and white as just everybody's going to eat a bowl of broccoli, or no. It's complicated. I suppose everybody's complicated.
Yeah. You're going to have some fucking reading list by the end of this. It's just 2 books I'm jotting down. The reason why I'm jotting this down is called GAPS, Gut and Psychology Syndrome. So the link of celiac, now you're autistic and the dairy intolerant child, is that with Laura?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Gut and Psychology Syndrome is an amazing book. It's a tough read, but basically what it's doing is linking the parents' like intolerances and how it actually is passed on to kids, but they're never really tested. So straight away it talks about if any of you have kids, if any of you have ever suffered, like say something that acid reflux with the milk. Right? A lot of the time doctor just comes in and changes the milk. Doesn't tell you why the child is potentially not sticking to that milk or whatever it is. Right? Now I'm not saying I have the answers for everything. There's medical doctors out there obviously going and check with it first. But it's an amazing book in terms of how it's linked with autism, how it can help with that, how it can help with kids with dyspraxia and Asperger's, and the link with nutrition and that. So it may be something, again, when you were saying that, that's probably a lack of knowledge on celiac, because being celiac could probably help as well. Because it's not, for me, I don't propose to know a lot about, autism and stuff like that there, but I know with Orla, she's talking a lot about sensory stuff. There's different ranges. Most kids can deal with normal screws and stuff like that there, but there is ways that you can help, maybe nutrition wise. So there's probably a bit of education on that side. And then, as you say, it's trying to find foods that everybody will eat. It's definitely when you're 5 kids. Someone only wants to eat chicken nuggets and chips. Someone only wants to eat this. Someone only wants to eat that. Yeah, and this is where, for you, it's probably more difficult. As you say, you want to just eat what's convenient. So I'm going to recommend these, and then as Lenny's already doing with you, he's already working with you, I think everyone needs to leave with just one thing or 2 things to do, because if it's overwhelming, then it's not going to be great. And these, in terms of change of mindset, and this in terms of educating self about that end. We had does anybody remember Connor Doyle? No, he was one of our vets. Yeah, do you remember? No, he was not. Connor's child was autistic, and he fought to get him into this certain school, but the work that he did with his child, he actually gave up his career, he missed his step on, and like some of the stuff, because him and Orla had an amazing conversation. And then after finally getting him into this school, they turn around and says, he's as able as any kid in any mainstream school. And it's testament to the work that he was sort of doing with it. But the only reason why I'm saying that, I'm not saying these are bad parents if you don't. It's just that then upskilling yourself and learning about that sort of stuff as well. Who else was lacking knowledge? Patrick?
I suppose what I find is that it's going back to those old habits. Put my weight down and try to do that, and very good. This is a very narrow niche of what we do. And then if I kind of drift back on that and what we used to do, I'll be nice with it.
So how does it differ from what you used to do, what you do now?
I just had taking more sugary foods and bad habits.
Previous or now?
Previously, I'm drifting back towards that now. I cut all that out and focused a bit more on things. There wasn't a good variety of meals in there, I suppose, but that was one laziness, not finding enough variety to keep me there, really.
Okay.
Similar thing that we mentioned already about sort of family circumstances, you prioritise looking after your kids' nutrition and getting into that more so than me trying to focus on different.
Is there anybody here who has kids who would sort of not eat what you would eat?
All of us.
Huh?
All of us.
All of us, yeah. Because that, again, be ignorant for me to start talking about having kids and what to do with them and stuff as well. The one that really hit home with me, because it's the closest, was Lenny and his kids. I'd seen his kids eating broccoli and avocado and craving it. And I'm like, I've never seen a fucking kid ever do that. Kids in the Strand are like, give us money to go and get Skittles. Do you know what I mean? And like their treat was an apple or what do you call them? Wee bars. Wee small bars. You get
naked bar?
Naked bars. And I was just like, how the fuck do you do that? And I remember listening to a guy talking, and he was very much saying, at the end of the day, you're your child's rock star. Like what you do, it's very much monkey see, monkey do. And this guy was doing CrossFit in the garden. He found that his 2-year-old wanted to come out and do it, and wanted to come and exercise. Even when you bring your kids in here, they want to swing, they want to play, they want to do loads of things. So I think it starts with you first, instilling those things. And he says, listen, if I tell my kids to eat, broccoli and peas, and I'm not eating broccoli and peas, what do you think they're going to do? It's different. I think you just want your kids to eat as well. You always get those people, because I said to a girl one time, I was like, it's child abuse what you're doing, giving your child McDonald's. And I was doing the winter up, like, she went, what? I was just like, you're just being lazy, you're parenting and stuff as well. And then you just see a kid screaming in the store, shut up, horrible, you're forcing me. Yeah, so for that, it's maybe looking at what your kids eat and trying to incorporate it into a group meal. So like a lot of the times, the recipe guides we give out, the most time we get a download on that would be like recipes that the whole family would love. Do you know what I mean? And kids are very limited in that sort of choice, and you don't want to be making too many meals. That's why I wrote an article before. It was called like the death of paleo, and I was like, meal prepping. I'm sure everyone in here has attempted meal prep at some point and realised, oh fuck, it's great when it works, and when it doesn't work, it's like you're almost on the other end of the scale. I just don't think that meal prepping is something we can do long term, and that's really stupid to say. We went from people who have to freshly cook our meals to having everything that's accessible and around us and stuff as well. And that's where environment comes in, because when we look at the environment around us, there's a reason why in supermarkets or the worst ones like Poundland, all the sweets and treats are at the front. And it's been proven in terms of research that most people, in terms of marketing, respond to colours. So orange and red are massive in marketing. So you look at your McDonald's, you look at your Burger King, you look at Reese's Pieces, it's stuff that attracts your eye. And then again, the other things that we can't control with that is our appetite. Okay, so if we have a pleasure associated with that, you know, just speaking to one or two people, when I'm stressed and I'm flat out on the mat, I look to food. Like I look at the chocolate, I look at the sweets, it's just like a pick me up. There's a lot of cues that come with that, whether it's lack of sleep or whether it's just tiredness, well, same thing, but tiredness maybe throughout the day, maybe coughing drops, but then also the environment around me. So we don't buy chocolate in the house, but I know that my mum has it around the corner. So I know if I go around, I'm more than likely going to eat. And I said to someone, you know, a couple of years saying, I'm looking very skinny lately. Not good. I'm the latest I've been in 10 years, and I put it down to the fact that all the meal preps, and like we don't have that stuff in the house, so it's out of scope and out of scale. It doesn't mean that I don't crave it or don't want it. And the other thing, essentially with that, is having the motivation. So for me, the holiday was the motivation, and the hardest part, and I'm sure some of you are experiencing now, post-holiday blues, just trying to get into your routine. And if you think about habits for me are broken down into good and bad. You know, if you think of something that is good, so we look at exercise, we look at eating well. You know, if you exercise or eat well, you're going to feel better. Yeah? So when you feel better, essentially you're going to look better. More energy, you can move more. And then it goes back into this nice little cycle. So you go, you exercise, you feel good about yourself, you want to make a positive decision in terms of eating well. That obviously makes you feel better, and then look better, and then back again. Now the thing that breaks this cycle is something negative. You know, like tonight, going to go out, have something to eat, or go to dinner, or go out for boxing or pride or whatever it is. And then we get into this bad cycle where it's like, say, eat bad or don't train, you feel like shit. Do it over a long period of time, you look like shit. And then that's obviously going to impact you, and it's going to make you want to do something more negative. And the only thing to break that cycle is to do something positive. So you may have heard me many times if someone's had a rough weekend, they don't turn up on Monday. And then if they don't get a text, they don't turn up on Tuesday. We actually had one guy recently who we messaged on the Tuesday and we're like, you missed your first 2 sessions, what's up? And he's just like, I just had a bit of a bender the weekend. I'll be back in next Monday. Fucking during the week, get in tomorrow, right? So the accountability was there, and it was just the fact of, you almost build this fear up. They're going to give me a bollock and I'm going to have to listen to this and everything else. So you build up this fear stuff in the head, and I always say, I don't care if you overeat, you party, you do whatever it is, you come in, you do the session, it's not going to be your best session. You're going to sweat bucket loads. Kieran the other day was on a bender and threw up everywhere, in the toilet obviously. But what it does is, it breaks this routine. It breaks this and goes into something positive, and then it's trying to relive that. I'm no fucking Tony Robbins. Life isn't fucking perfect. Shit happens every day. What we can't control is like the repercussions. You know, if something happens, what do? Fucking right, I had a couple of drinks there because I haven't seen a friend in a while. Right, what am I going to do for the rest of the day? I either go, do you know what, I'm going to fucking take this to the day or enjoy myself. But looking at it as a sensible prospect, I need to fucking do something to get up there. What else do we have for that knowledge? balance, which is fourfold. And I'm going to address, I'm going to address this all over again anyway. How many people think they lack support? Not just here, I mean in the outside, we're real people, family members. You? Is this your missus? Yeah. So what would she?
Just obviously.
Is she not panicking yet because the weddings are like 3 weeks?
What?
Is she not panicking because the wedding's soon?
Yeah. No, yeah, obviously, like, because we're very responsible as well. Just not spending as much time on her as we be. So, yeah.
And so she doesn't see the value in you obviously going and doing that. What about eating habits? Go ahead.
I've seen my parents, my mom is concerned about me because she, well, to be fair, when I first did this, I did get extreme, I lost quite a lot, and I didn't see it myself because I was just in it, got really obsessed, and I saw photographs and I thought, oh shit, so then I put on loads of weight, but she's really concerned, and anytime I'm doing anything, she's oh look at you, come down on your food, and she's always nitpicking, and which is quite hard. So I try.
Do you ever notice that's more, it is like a generational thing?
Yeah.
Your parents are sort of used to eating
My
that?
sister does it too,
Yeah.
but I think that's just jealousy. Sorry, she told me it, so.
Lenny was talking about this on the Fitness Business Life podcast when they were talking about books. And Atomic Habits is one of those things. It's like people have an association, like in order to change, they need to change their identity on how they view themselves. We actually had one client in here who wasn't losing weight, he was putting the work in, his eating habits were sort of terrible, and we did everything. Like at one point Lenny was ringing him to get him up in the morning to make sure he prepped his food, well, name names, like making sure he was coming in for sessions, like trying to go above and beyond to make sure he got the results. And Steve-O, obviously everyone knows he's come from 20 stone to 12 stone, and he's sort of a little bit more now, but he turned around, he proposed, he says, I think this dude is scared of losing his identity. And we were like, what do you mean? He's like, he's always been known as big, such and such. And you ever notice when somebody loses a lot of weight really quickly, apart from the fact that maybe look a little bit gaunt, whatever it is, people are like, oh, you've changed, you're not the same. You sort of find that everyone in here will have, hopefully you have a gym family, us, and it pisses off other people. You know, like I have childhood friends I don't spend as much time with now, and one of them was like, why do you not spend time with us? Like, and I was just like, I just work, I prefer to be around you guys and around people. You never want to come for a drink. And I'm like, I'm a fucking personal trainer. I can't just be going out getting on the piss every night. Like that would just be retarded. That's not a good example to set for everybody. And it's probably this environment of Ireland, everything's revolves around alcohol, I think. But yeah, it's trying to look for the support, and each one of you will have a sheet there, and it's called a social support sheet, and I want us to fill it in. So for anybody who's been here a long time, they'll maybe fill one of these in. And the reason being is, and what I want you to do is, like I said, I don't want to sit and talk to you, I want somebody to come to a realization of what's actually not working, and trying to pinpoint it, because if you can do that, if it is going to have a difficult conversation with the missus and say, listen, I love you, we're going to get married, but appreciate that this is a part of my life, or if we are going to do a dad, speak to friends, family, because if you don't, they don't know any better. They just know, oh, fucking love always get a wee Chinese in it, and you're going, I'm trying to be good. They don't know. If you speak to them and turn around and say, listen, I'm going to try and be good for these next sort of 6 weeks, I'd appreciate if, you know, if we maybe put things up on the back burner in terms of like, you know, going out or partying or whatever it is, or just make better choices. Is that okay? Because if not, somebody's wedding's going to come up, somebody's going to have a christening, somebody's going to have this, somebody's going to have that. Before you know it, your social life is impacting, obviously, one of your priorities, which is obviously lose weight and get in shape and whatever it is. Okay, so social support questionnaire, if you have it, just fill that in for me. And there's a wee scoring system on the back, so just take a couple of minutes here. Very actually, I'll give it to the boys. Use have a piece of paper, maybe just note the questions down on paper, or the answers on the paper, and then there's score on the back, so you share them too. Yeah. So,
I'm actually good at this. No, I'm just
listen to anybody.
just in a couple.
Okay.
what?
I can't answer this.
You can't what?
I don't live with people.
It's okay. There should be a score for that. It's just
No.
like neutral, isn't it? Is that like a 0?
Okay, zero. Sometimes though.
I would say C for you, mate. And that's like, you know, as a legend.
Honest to God. So your friends are probably all dicks.
It'll be like there's a wee kid in what is it? It's a TV show where he goes in and the girl's like taking out all the bad food and he's like, "You're not taking my bacon! Bacon is my family!"
Was that like Wake Swap or something?
I was gonna say which one I thought it was.
Bacon is like my family. Oh God. Bacon gets me.
I have to leave in like 7 minutes.
Well, recorded, don't worry, it's recording now. One more minute and then.
So I need to get top up minute. See? I do family.
We support you. We support you.
Yeah, you're fine. Sad, I know you're not doing it. I'm just so busy, I didn't think of that. I do so much.
Yes. So excited.
Yes, I want to be the
Yeah, so add that up and get your score. So the scoring is at the very bottom on the second page. You don't have to share it with me, but like I said, hopefully it maybe highlights some areas. And you usually find this with big families. Somebody who maybe goes to lose weight, and then the other people, whether they mean to or not, subconsciously won't pull you down. Okay? And everyone's heard of the crab in the bucket scenario? No? Okay, so I think it was during, I can't remember the book it was, and anyone would be able to tell you, but what is it? Perfect Day Formula? So basically, fishermen had come out, caught a load of these crabs, and they're in a big, massive bucket, and they held them on the deck before they were shipping them in. And someone was like, "Be careful, them crabs are going to get out." And the guy started laughing. And he's like, "What are you laughing at?" He says, "What happens is one crab starts to get to the top, climb out, and another crab pulls it down." Okay, so if you can watch this on YouTube, because they're constantly all trying to get one over or get on top of each other to get to the top, but they're constantly pulling themselves down so they don't lose effectively any crabs or any food. So again, support is a massive thing, and with the support obviously comes the identity. So again, as Atomic Habits has said, if you want to be the person in shape, then you have to assume the identity of the person who's in shape. What would a person in shape do? Exercise, eat right, have structure to their day, all these sort of things. And so what you're doing is you're trying to mimic that identity, whereas if you don't, then it starts to become sort of chaos. And the way that we sort of classify people, or in my opinion, there's only 3 classifications of where you're at. Stage 1, never trained before, you're not educated about food, this may be your first rodeo, you don't know how to cook, you've never been educated on nutrition or culinary skills. Again, you lack knowledge in food and exercise. And what happens is you obviously come to the gym. So there's no point us, turning around going, listen, that's weigh, measure, track food, 1,800 calories, away you go, because it's just going to be, right, what the fuck is that shit? Okay? So for people like this, they're usually unorganized, they're usually very stressed, have more chaotic lifestyles. And like I say, they have that lack of knowledge and no real structure. They might work shift pattern jobs, again, this is just generalized for some people who are at different stages and probably have a bit more structure to their lives. So what these people need to do is a very, very simple thing, is very simple food list. Okay? So just before I write these out, why do diets work? Because I talk a lot about why diets don't work, but why do diets work? Discipline. Yeah. Habit. Well, what causes you to have those disciplines and those habits? What?
Being consistent with it.
Consistent. Yeah.
Games.
What?
Have you seen results?
Results.
You're in the deficit.
Deficit. Right. Think about it like this. Has anyone ever read Jordan Peterson, 12 Rules of Life, isn't it? An Antidote to Chaos. So basically he proposes that if there was no rules or guidelines in place, there'd be anarchy in the world. And what a specific protocol in terms of nutrition, whether it's a carb cycle, whether it's fasting, whether it's this, it gives you guidelines, it gives you rules. And for us as human beings, we like to adhere to the rules. Sometimes you think you're a mad bastard and you want to do that anarchy shit, but a lot of the time, as you realize, we go back to our normal habits and routine unless that sort of stuff sticks. So like, if you're at this stage and you still can't really get your head around food and like, what the fuck's calories, and like, I've maybe done this in the past and whatever it is, then we're going to start with a simple food list. We're going to give you foods and to say pick one from each list. It could be a protein, it could be fats, it could be carbs, and we're just going to try and get your meals a little bit more structured. The other thing you can do is simple food swaps. Okay, so if any is familiar with the little webinar or the wee Zoom call I did online, I did a whole presentation about swapping out foods. Right? I love foods. I love sweet stuff. If I take it out, I crave it. At some point I'm going to eat it. I know that, right? And most of you will probably see that I've been sort of drinking, say, flavoured water. Okay? So apart from the cavities that Katrina keeps telling me I'm going to have, it sort of puts my craving on edge. Maybe if you're a smoker and you have a nicotine gum or you have a vape, it sort of takes the craving off. And I know that a 2 litre bottle is 20 calories. It's not going to be a big deal. Something that gives me something sweet. So simple food swaps in terms of, swapping out your bacon for turkey bacon. And before you go, I know it's not the same. It never is. Unfortunately, it never is. And then if it's like swapping out sauces from, your brown sauce to a sugar-free one, again, it's like swapping from HP to Daddy's. It's just not the same. Okay? But it's as close as something that we can get that we enjoy. Because if you want to change, there has to be sacrifice somewhere. Okay? It just depends on your level of commitment and the level of sacrifice that you can do or what you're willing to do. I posted a video and for some reason it didn't post. It was about cost, and it simply spoke about why personal trainers range from £10 to £60 and why people always go on the lower end. If you look at it, everything is an investment, right? If you look at changing your lifestyle, changing your habits, changing things, that's a big fucking whack of time and a big whack of maybe financial investment. If you go to the lower end, then you don't really risk much. If you're paying a tenner for a PT or a tenner a session, whatever it is, it's not a big investment for the majority of people. For some people, maybe it's not a big investment. So if it doesn't work out, you're like, you know, you win some, you lose some. Does that make sense? The more that happens as we go through these stages, we become more invested, and this is what I call your lifestyle douchebags. These all are probably here anyway. Nobody wants a lifestyle change. Everyone probably thinks that they're pretty fucking good and class as they are. We just want to capitalize on that and make you simply even more better than you already are. But no one wants that lifestyle change. We want a result. We want to change something. What's going to happen over that period of time is that our mindset's going to shift. We know that actually it's making us feel better, the food's making us feel better and look better, and essentially before you know it, you enjoy eating them foods. You go on holiday, you eat shit, you drink, you come back and you're like, fuck, I just love a salad. And you get to that point, there's something serious. You're out here, for me anyway. So simple food swaps, swapping out. I know a normal average piece of bread is about 120 to 140 calories. Brennan's and Hove is 50-50, 80 calories. You save yourself some there. You know, look at, I know that 100 mils of mayonnaise, because I have it on the thing now, nobody's going to have 100 mils of mayonnaise, I know that, is the equivalent to 650 calories. Now the lightest of the light mayo, again, probably not going to taste as sweet, for 100 mils, 60 calories. Same thing for your Caesar dressing. 100 mils, 600 odd calories. For the lowest, 100 or so. Okay, so you can still enjoy your Caesar salad, you can still enjoy these things, but you're just swapping stuff out. Okay, and again, we have tons of resources, I'll show you them, the video's on there. So if you're in this stage, it's simply about changing your habits, trying to eat a little bit better, and again, not demonizing. Well, I'm probably going to get you onto something like this. Again, I spoke to a few people during the week, and I believe that flexible dieting is the best long-term approach for nutrition. Being able to factor in a beer, have some chocolate and stuff like that. The problem is, you haven't fucking earned the right to be flexible. You haven't. Like, it's the same way, you don't just climb the corporate ladder and go, I deserve to be CEO. You don't, you have to go through the shit, you have to sacrifice, you have to go above and beyond, you have to prove that you're worthy. And nutrition is no different. That's why most people are going to fail, because they're not in the right position. They either lack the knowledge, so you go and seek out someone who has the knowledge. They either lack the support or the environment you're in. If you're in an office environment and people want to, you know, eat cakes and buns all day. You know, someone mentioned that before. It's like, my office is terrible. There's buns and cakes, and you know, what should I do? And I was like, what time's it at? It's like, it's lunchtime. Go for a walk. What? Change the environment. You can't change that because it's a job. I'm not going to tell you to leave your job. But what you can do is choose, and I'm just going to go out here, go for a walk and stuff like that. Or again, have the conversation with people. I'm not interested in that. A slide I used before for a corporate talk for business, it was guy over here eating out of the Tupperware box, and then that meme of Heath Ledger's the Joker going, you know, open up a Tupperware box and the whole fucking world loses their mind. But people over here are eating, you know, Big Mac with fries and nobody says a word. Okay? There's a social exclusion. For these people are eating Tupperware boxes, these people are eating bosoms and Big Macs, and these people are ridiculing these people. And like I've spoke before, the problem with society now is that it is socially acceptable to be overweight. 63% of the population in the last study are classified as being overweight or obese. People in shape are more likely to be stared at and ridiculed than people who are slightly overweight. I don't think anyone should be ridiculed. I just think it's, you know, everyone's in different sort of things. But
I can attest that. Philip ridicules me every
all
single
the time. Yeah.
Yeah, keep your
every
shirt on.
single morning.
Yep. I think the Southern Comfort ad just made it. That was just like, I can wear Speedos and have gun. This is fun. Whereas the guy in shape is like, look at that knob run about with his top off. That's almost the way it's gone. So, again, like if you're at this stage, I want you leaving here today, have a quick word with me. You're probably going to go on a slightly stricter diet. Why? You need a result. You need a win. Because when you get that, you're going to trust the process a little bit more, and you're going to go, right, that I know what I'm doing here. You need the rules and guidelines. We talk about beginners learn the rules, intermediates follow the rules, advanced break the rules, and this is no different. Okay? Fat boy over here is probably going to sit with a glass of wine and some chocolate tonight. Would we want you to do that? Probably not, unless you can be flexible, unless you earned the right to do that. Okay? So we're all at different stages. Who feels that, again, their environment is holding them back? Tell me.
Myself. I try, well, where I came from, at home we always have like a Mediterranean diet. So I always consider like I eat vegetables, I eat fish and everything. So I try to follow that pattern. But then, for example, at work, as you say, like at my work, every single day they bring chocolate, buns, and everything. And it's not at lunchtime, it's every time. Every time. And I have a sweet tooth. Yeah, so it's like, it's something that I love. So I cannot say no. And I can, it's like, at that time I can go. But when you are working with the computer, like, give me. So, and then when I go out with the friends, some of them they understand, but as well as like, come on, go for a beer. And it's like, I don't know to say no to that. I like that plan.
I didn't know there was beer on the Mediterranean diet.
And then you finish like with three in your body. And it's like, when I did that, I only wanted one. And people around you are like, come on, don't worry, tomorrow you are gonna be good. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm trying to be good every single day, and tomorrow I go to the gym and I'm gonna burn it. But it's something that I feel like support me a little. Send me to home or something like that. Or don't tempting me all the time. So I feel that, and then the stress of work and everything, and then like the last week it was like going to the bar, you know, I don't want to know anything about the habit. So
You've really acclimatized to the Irish culture, haven't you?
Oh my God, yes.
Fucking just going for a drink to after. Yeah.
People say it's raining if I go to the bar.
To be honest, in my opinion, it's lack of boundaries. Like, you haven't addressed it with people, and I know it's like nobody wants to have serious conversations, and I don't want to have serious conversations. Do you know what I mean? But at some point, you need to have that. So there was something that happened recently, like in my house between me and my brother and blah blah blah, and then it ended up me and Orla having a fight. But I put it down to the fact that I hadn't put boundaries in place between what had happened. So I had to go around, have the conversation, say, listen, this is the way it's going to be, and blah blah blah. And then from there forward, he understood. Right, and that's it. No fisticuffs or anything. But those boundaries had to be put in place. The same way that I say, if you don't address the situation with your partner, with the ones at work, you're not going to get support. And you can't blame those people because they don't know. They're just being themselves. They're just being what they normally are every day. So you can't go, oh, they're fucking tempting me. Well, they're doing it every day, so it's not like they're doing it on purpose. Go ahead.
So, no, I mean as well, like, sometimes, for example, as they know that I come here twice per week, they consider you go for losing weight. And it's like, now that is my purpose. The last 6 months wasn't my purpose was to learn how to work. So, it's like, I mean, like, I'm going, but I'm not doing everything just to get a perfect body or something like that.
Yeah.
So, it's like, because I want to not to wear the crutches, to be able to work without lifting and everything. So I think that maybe I have to have that talk to them as well. Like now I'm in the moment that I want to be myself, the one that was 1 year ago, 2 years ago. No,
Yeah.
that. No.
And I'm glad you brought up the Mediterranean diet. It's one of the most popular diets. One of the diets proposed being one of the healthiest in the world. Right? And I say healthiest. It's not proposed to be one of the best diets to get people in shape. Because, not the fact that it's high in fats and it has all these stuff, the ingredients are amazing, the food's amazing, it's, again, it boils down to that calories. Because I've had a lot of people who go, I clean eat, like all my food is like really healthy, but I'm not losing weight, right? Again, the way I talk about it, you can have health, you can have body composition, you can have performance, right? And what usually happens is if you eat for health, it doesn't correlate with you being in shape. It just means you're fucking healthy. You can eat for body composition, and you can starve yourself and have abs. That's going to be bad for your health and your performance. And then the way we look at performance is we use it as a different metric, and it's one that's not really utilised. You'll notice every 3 months now, we max out, or we get as close to it. And I'm pretty sure everyone has got stronger and stronger, because regardless of whether you're trying to lose weight, gain weight, get fitter, you need to get stronger. It's just paramount. And again, not to be philosophical, but for me, getting stronger is a metaphor for getting stronger physically and mentally. Overcoming the fact that there is fucking heavy weight on your back. Remember somebody said to me after, like, my goal was to squat 200 kilos, and I squatted, and someone had that feat. How the fuck do you think? It felt like there was 200 kilos on my back. So it felt heavy, there was a grind, that goal was in my head, right? And has that probably given me more motivation to deal with other shit? Yeah. Okay, and again, you know, I think it was Tony Robbins or Jordan Peterson talked about this. There is cells in our brain that only light up when we're challenged, right? They only switch on when we're challenged. And Jordan Peterson referred to it again as like exercise. So in order for us to build muscle, we must, like, you know, exert force, stress, whatever it is on the muscle. And then we give our body a chance to adapt to that stress. And when it adapts to that stress, then we get obviously bigger, stronger, fitter. Okay? And so we constantly need to be doing that. And this is the stage where we're on in stage 2. If you're here, you're probably maybe following a calorie control plan. You probably understand the basics of nutrition, what you should be eating, what you shouldn't be eating. I don't want to say what you shouldn't be eating, terminology matters. What's better for us? There is some foods that are more nutritious than others. You've maybe hit a plateau, you're okay with culinary skills, but the main thing about this is, it comes back to that. Are you getting results? No. Then you need to change something. Okay? And if you think of what we have that we can control, exercise, nutrition. So if we're not getting results, you're spending 6 days a week in here, I don't really care if you're spending 6 or 7 and you're doing double sessions or whatever it is. If you're not getting results, something needs to change. Okay, so we can look at physical exercise, the gym, and then the big one is steps. Right? Everyone always talks about steps, apart from the band. It talks about a term known as NEAT, right? Just basically what you do in day to day. Somebody who's in an office environment isn't going to expend as much calories as somebody who's doing a manual labour job and lifting and building. Okay? But again, the same concept applies. I don't care if you're doing 15, 20,000 steps. I don't care if you walk 10 minutes to work every day. If you're not losing weight, something needs to change. Okay? So whether it's again nutrition, we probably want to need to reduce your calories, or if you're in that awful godforsaken state where you're rock bottom, you're on 1,200 calories, 1,000 calories a day, then you're going to have to think more about, this is going to take, for me, what I try to explain to people, a little bit of a back step and focus more on your health. Okay. What's a shocking statistic is the fact that people do not give a fuck about their health. They're willing to take the weight loss pills, they're willing to take the quick fixes to get into shape. Because what's happening is the stuff that you put your body through, you don't immediately feel it. It comes on long term down the line. Smoking, for example. I'm not saying everybody gets lung cancer or whatever it is when they smoke, but if you think about it, there's an ignorance to it until the time where it actually comes. And I call it being proactive or being reactive. We get people coming in, I've just been diagnosed with diabetes. Fuck, if you maybe started exercising a year ago, you probably wouldn't have got diabetes. People react to bad news instead of going, you know what, I'm going to go and I'm going to address this. Okay. So again, if you've hit that plateau and you're at this stage, you're going to need to change one of those things. Okay, you're going to need to obviously speak to us. We can give you maybe additional stuff to do. Like as your coach, we maybe even tell you, listen, wants to back off a little bit. You know, the perfect example would have been Seamus. So when we talk about the member of the month in January, it got to the point that Seamus had blew it out of the water, right? He was turning up for sessions. He was walking like 10 minutes a day. He was posting his meals on and it was like, right? And I turned around and I said to him, you're not going to be able to sustain that for a long time. Second month, he missed probably about at least 2 weeks of it. Tired, fatigued, plus doing night shift. it will come back to haunt you. And you'll find that anytime you push yourself really, really, really hard one way, your body will want to rebound the other way. See, if you dive really, really hard that way, it's going to want to go back this way. So depending on what stage you're at, will determine how aggressive you want to go. If you've got a holiday coming up, you can go aggressive, you can do those things, but it's just being aware of that as well. So if that's the case, then something needs to change out of this. Who is here? Who knows the information? It's sitting there in front of you. We've got tons of resources. We can tell you till we're blue in the face. You've got the people who want to do it in the house with you. You've got the support. Maybe you don't have 100%, but you've got it there. And now all you need to do is just fucking do something. Put the lettuce in your mouth. It's not going to taste that bad, but it's moved you one step forward. Okay, it's moved you one step forward. Okay, we spoke about this anyway, because this is why I wanted to implement the stages. Because the stages are not everybody's in the right space, the right frame of mind. We spoke Neil, like sometimes in work, you know, I have another client as well who was like, I've lost 2 team members and I'm having to pick up a slack for work. And I hate to say it, that's probably not the best time to die. That's probably the best time to go, do you know what, I'm going to try and maintain as much as possible and try and stay at this point. People are always surprised when I celebrate their maintenance. Coming in, they're like, fuck, I'm the same weight as last month. You were out a couple of nights a week, weren't you? Yeah, I've been eating bad. That's a fucking win. That's amazing. And they're like, oh, you're just saying that. I genuinely believe that. If you're not putting on weight, that's a fucking win. Do you know what I mean? Obviously then it's a case of when we are in a better position, we maybe have a holiday coming up, we maybe have a wedding to prepare for, we'll have the barbecue, that's where we have the 10-day weight loss challenge. Ew. Oh, that class. Yeah, just don't be drinking or eating anything on the day. When the videographers are there, the videographers aren't there, eat and drink like fuck.
Fresh air and sawdust that.
Yes. Gin and tonic, low calories. So yeah, at some point the penny's going to drop. And I talk to this, whenever we get a new client that joins the gym, have you trained before? Have you been coached for? Yes. Where have you trained? Sometimes they'll say I've trained here, here, and here, and a light bulb goes off in my head. I'm like, right, these ones are going to be difficult. I'm probably feeling presumptuous because it's a case of, at some point, if you've trained elsewhere and you haven't got the results, the penny just hasn't dropped. Because whether you want to put it in a nice little package and wrap it up and give it to them in a celebrity box, you got to work hard and you got to eat well. I don't think any other gym or any other trainer around the world will pay you any different, unless they're trying to sell like cryotherapy, fat reduction or something like that. Right? It's the same thing, and at some point, the only thing that changes is the fact that your mindset has changed or his action has changed. I spoke to a client before who trained with us for about a month or two, wasn't really losing any weight. And again, if you're on my accountability list, you'll probably have had this talk. Okay? Are you the type of person who wants an arm around the shoulder? Are you the type of person who wants to kick up a hole? Everybody always wants to kick up a hole. Okay? Okay, I'm going to check in with you every single week. Okay? And then that motivation starts and whatever it is, and then after a while, starts to wane or something, and then you need that another kick up the arse. Okay? A great book called Drive from Daniel Pink, he talks about this, and it's called Motivation 2.0, which is a carrot on a stick. You're always chasing something, and it can actually end up being more detrimental. I know people who've been saying they've been dieting for a whole year, been trying to lose weight for a whole year, but they're heavier than when they started the previous year. Okay, if we just had set periods where we went balls to the wall, all in, for maybe 2 blocks of 12 weeks, doesn't have to be at one time, that's 6 months. You could be in fucking great shape for 6 months, and you could be just half-hearted through for 12 months. So again, if you're here, speak to us and just take one of the wee small steps that you can do. So stage 2, the people who are usually at this probably have a decent structure. They probably have a normal 9-to-5 job or whatever it is. They know what time the kids go to school. Now this all gets fucked up in the summertime if you've got kids and you have to take them out. That's why we try and do the cinema club. Usually have a good routine. You're probably not out partying every weekend. I'm not imagining Patrick going out and like, yeah. You know what I mean? Good routine most of the time. So you know Monday to Friday what your week's going to look like. And so you can plan ahead for that. If you're like this person who is chaotic, or maybe working certain hours, or maybe working retail, or you know, in food industry and you're working certain nights and days off, and it can be difficult. And then the stage 3 people, they've earned that right to be flexible. Okay, they've looked at their food, they know what works for them, they know what's good or what's better for them, and then they've got to a point where it's been easy to maintain. Okay, very few people are going to get to this point. The reason is because either they're going to be stuck in the mindset of always lose, and so they never advance on this stage of thinking about building a body that suits you. You know, being able to run, crawl, swim, feel good about yourself, feel confident in your own skin, sorry. And what they usually do is they find a plan that works for them and they continue to follow that. They will be tracking their food when they need to make changes. They're, like I said, your lifestyle douches. I'm not making fun of lifestyle people. You know, I still eat a bit of chocolate, have a drink, but I love eating certain foods and I know it makes me feel good. They have good structure day to day, and I put down disco. This is Disco Stew. And OCD. So when Disco joined, he did the transformation and he blew it out of the water, and he told me that he has OCD, and you'll probably see when he posts all through it. And I said that's a great thing and also a detrimental thing. Great thing is he has to have everything organized, it's all sorted, blah blah blah. He's the complete opposite to these people who just wing it on the day-to-day life, which is me sometimes. But also detrimental because they never get out of that bubble, so they have to make changes and stuff as well. Any questions on any of that? No? Can any of you recognize where you are sort of at in terms of stage? Okay. And then look, if you're at stage 1, what do you need out of this that's going to take you here? Okay. And then to get to this stage, what do you need out of these? And have you fulfilled all these? Because like I said, we know that an apple's going to be better than a bar of chocolate. So it's not to say that a bar of chocolate's bad. Eat a bar of chocolate, have you put on a stone in a day? No, you haven't. Okay, so there is more nutritious foods, there's less nutritious foods, but we can get to these sort of points here. And that's mainly what I want to talk to you about. I want people to come to a realization that what they're doing is not working. And so you are looking for external motivation from us, and we want to give it to you, but you need to recognize, like, I spoke about this before. I don't know if anyone's ever went to any sort of addiction meeting. You can tell me. But at some point, when they accept that there's an issue, I'm not saying we're addicted to food, right? But when they accept that there's an issue and they openly talk about it or they write it down, then that's, and Russell Brand talked a lot about that in his podcast, then you can start to move forward. You know what I mean? So like I said, we all know what we should be eating. We need to be eating more protein, probably need to be eating more fruit and veg in our diet. And hopefully anybody who's doing the 10 or the 2 pound challenge, if not, you've still got a couple of days. An increase in fibre is not only going to increase the prospect of you being healthier, but hopefully improving your body composition. And just after seeing when I announced it, the photo that Dino had put on with the donuts, I thought I would address it here. I'm going to address it on video as well. If you're doing the 2 pound challenge, that doesn't mean you can eat like a dick and having donuts just because you're taking a supplement. Because if you think a supplement is going to change the majority of things that you do, it's not. It's only going to maybe enhance it, or in our case, hopefully regulate our appetite, help us feel a little bit fuller. Some people probably don't have regular stools, so obviously helping that, getting flushing out all those shit.
Hi Joe. Just a question, probably for the boys here, and you know, this might not like relate to everyone, but let's say something like, you know, thyroid function when someone's trying to lose weight or gain weight or whatever, right? You know, is it a straightforward case of calories in versus calories out? Because hormonally, this person isn't functioning, you know, let's say optimally, right? So, like, what do they do?
Anybody have any thyroid issues? Anybody celiac, dairy? Yourself? Yeah, you take Froxin? Yeah. Anybody else have issues? IBS, IBDs? I know, yeah, neurological, anybody fibromyalgia or different things? Yeah. So, I'm a big believer in that nutrition is a great medicine, okay? You ever see Epictetus' quote, let food be thy medicine? I'm not saying it's going to cure things, but in terms of the thyroid and as well in terms of what's happening in the body hormonally, when I started my nutrition education, I went that I need to know about cortisol, I need to know what's happening with the thyroid, I need to know that the pituitary gland is stimulating follicle-stimulating hormone and it's doing this. When in reality, what impacts hormones, first and foremost, the first thing we need to address when we go back to the start is what you put in your mouth. Okay? So I chased this tail for a long time. Well, I hear that stress holds on to body fat and it does this, and if you're not relaxing, well, if you're stressed, you're probably going to want to eat shitty food. So if we can maybe address it at the source, because at the end of the day, unless you're sticking like food up your arse, everything is going to go through your mouth. And then the processes that happen, because when you chew, you release enzymes to break down the food, it's going to come into the stomach, has this thing called CCK, we spoke about it. So it's basically a hormone that's released to tell your body the food's coming down and that we are full. Right? So these are all the chemical reactions that happen. And then that's going to impact, obviously, what happens in the body. Okay? So in terms of the hormonal things, if you do have an underactive thyroid, your doctor is going to prescribe medication called thyroxine, which still has to be converted in the body. So it's known as T4. The most active form is T3, so to be really technical. So for that to happen, then you're going to want to have high selenium foods. Okay, Brazil nuts are very, very good for that, and you're going to want iodine in your diet, so maybe more seafood. Okay. But hormonally, the same thing still applies. Just some people I know have got their thyroid out. Calories in, calories out still matter. So again, for us to address it hormonally, we need to address what we're putting in our mouth first and foremost as well. Just to go on from the point that John made, for females, the pill is a perfect example. Okay, so there's two things that are going to happen in the menstrual phase, or two main hormones, estrogen and progesterone. Estrogen for females is our main hormone that you need for strength, for muscle building. You don't have a lot of testosterone. Progesterone is where your cravings are going to start to come up and where you're going to hold on to more water and where you're going to feel a little more bloated. So essentially what's going to happen is your pill is going to influence that routine. So again, speak to your doctor, see if it's the right one for you, maybe if you are suffering from bloating and stuff as well. But again, it'll all still come back to what you're putting in your mouth. Sorry if that seemed like a roundabout way.
Everyone off the pill.
Yep. We need to expand the hybrid family. Yes, many hybrids.
You got that, Philip? You got that?
No. He's done enough for us. Can you get considered the organised t-shirts and baby grows? Yeah, anybody else? Medical conditions, IBS, any food allergies, sensitivities? If you are suffering from, and this is the thing, most people don't realise this, if you're suffering from bloating, if you're farting a lot, I know that's just, people just think, oh, it's normal. It's not normal. Especially cold protein farts, whatever it is. Or if you have psoriasis or eczema and it flares up, if you're getting chronic fatigue, these are all signs of, nutrient deficiency, maybe a chronic disease in terms of like IBS or IBDs. Because at the end of the day, if you're suffering from something like chronic fatigue, which in females is usually linked to anemia, low iron count, right? You go to your doctor says, here, take this iron supplement, right? My problem with that is, your body's not absorbing iron for whatever reason. It could be the fact that you're a vegetarian or you're vegan, you don't get a lot of red meat in your diet, right? It could be the fact that your gut is so inflamed, and your diet's atrocious, by the way, that it can't absorb those nutrients. So again, if we go back to the root cause, what are we putting in that's aggravating that, right? But the problem is, what's the easiest thing to do? We'll just do what the doctor tells us, just take the iron. The best way I've ever been described supplements, okay, especially anything that you're going to supplement through the mouth, is if I take that iron, it's like wetting a piece of toilet roll, throwing it against the wall and hoping that it sticks. Right? Coaching's no different. So what a doctor's doing is he's trying something. If it works, great, he looks like a rock star. If it doesn't work, okay, we'll try something different. Make sense? Okay, so anemia is a big one, chronic fatigue. If your psoriasis or eczema is flaring up, can link it to stress, and you can also link it to certain foods. The 5 main foods that trouble most people: dairy, gluten, wheat, nuts, eggs. Subsidiaries to that, people who have IBDs, colitis, Crohn's, can have issues with apples, asparagus, garlic, peppers, broccoli. So it's not just because you assume that a food's good for you that you can accept it. So a diet that you could do there is an elimination diet, where you cut out all the main intolerances and you would probably only eat, certain foods, and then you slowly start to phase them back in. Okay. Just on that note, on my own personal journey with that, I felt like, when you can feel fat, and when you can feel like swelling and watery. Say you go over your ankle, it swells up, feels like a bap. I was getting a little bit of pain in my hip. I felt like I wasn't as fat as I probably was, and I just felt really watery, like I was holding on to a lot of water. And so what I did was I took out all my dairy. Right? I just noticed that I farted a little bit more when I had more milk and more whey protein, and I think it was just mainly, I don't think I'm lactose intolerant, I think it was just I was having too much. I was having whey protein shakes, I was having protein bars, I was having protein yogurts, plus eating all this sort of stuff. And so what I did is I swapped out my protein for either normal food, or I changed protein source to a beef or a vegan or plant-based. And I kept the calories the exact same. I tried to keep everything as consistent as possible. And in a week I lost 2 kilos. I just felt my sides pulling in, my joints were not as achy, my skin was better, I felt better, and I was just like, okay. Now the only thing with that is, that may be just something that I tried, and I could not be lactose intolerant. Maybe I just needed a break. The downside to that, it defeats my narrative that that's what's wrong with me, right? A lot of people will have this, and this is the point I was trying to make with Clara earlier, whereas you've had certain ways and it's worked for you, but then what will happen is that's the only way it's worked for me. I've had clients who turn around and went, the only thing that works for me is going ketogenic and just eating meat and veg. Right? Why is that? Oh, well, that's the only way I've lost weight in the past. So there's that association with it. So it may work in the short term, but if you don't educate yourself, you're going to try and follow just eating meat and veg for the rest of life. You're going to have a very, very sad life, essentially. Any other questions? No? If you're at stage 2 here, speak to your accountability coach and go through that test. If you're not getting results, what can you change? Can you exercise more? Can you do more steps? Does your nutrition need to change? Because there was a study done on a group of people who says that they were eating 1,200 calories a day, and they also says that they were exercising a certain amount. Now, when they measured them, what they found is that they underreported by the minimum of 250 calories. So people who were saying they were eating 1,200 were actually eating 1,450, 1,500. It's a big case, and we probably spoke to you all about. We're not tracking the best way that we can, right? So we're letting the little calories get in there that we're not aware of. And the other thing is that people were over-reporting their exercise. They were saying they were expending more calories than they naturally would. Now that's a personal question you need to ask yourself. Are you giving it 100% during the classes? Okay? I'm going to be honest. There's times like when I'm training, like I'm saving something. I'm saving something because I know the last wad is a fucking killer. And so I know that I'm sort of holding back a little bit. And that's why it's great to train in a team, because you see someone busting their balls and pushing. When I do that, I see a little bit of sea biscuit. I'm like, right, fuck, I gotta beat this guy. Or try and push myself to the best of my ability. So there is going to be a point that, effort level, if 10 is max and 1 is shit, my 10 is going to be different to your 10, to your 10, to your 10, to your 10. Okay? And that all comes down to the level of fitness and stuff as well. So if you think that you can up that intensity, do 1 more rep, push yourself that little bit more, do it. Because I'll say there's 2 types of people in the world. There's people who push themselves until they're sick, and there's people who give up before they're sick. Don't give up, just keep pushing yourself until because at the end of the day, you're putting that physical stress, you're pushing yourself, and when you take that recovery time and downtime, you're going to recover from it. So that's this one. Any other questions? No, I'm just going to stick some stuff down here that I think you need to go away and do. You'll know what stage you're at. If you don't, we'll have a chat, and I'll obviously say, listen, here's what you need to do going forward, because I don't want, like I said, anybody really thinking, well, that wasn't worth it for me. Just a bollocking. Actually, just before you go, there's another question out there. Just take 2 minutes to fill in, and it's called readiness to change. And essentially, there's no point you coming in here telling me you want to get shredded, don't have the social support, don't have the environment, and then you're not actually willing to do the fucking work. Okay, so just take 2 minutes there and I'll write this up. Oh.
Can I just ask everyone a quick question? I'm just curious. Does anyone here sleep below 7 hours a night?
Majority. Majority.
Anyone sleep below 6?
Yeah. I'm looking to get 3.5, 4.
I'm usually between 5 and 6.
So see if you're not getting the required amount of sleep, what that does for you physiologically in terms of eating is you crave pick-me-up foods.
Yeah.
You're going to crave caffeine, you're going to crave sweets and chocolate, and I guarantee people who are not getting the required number of hours are going to stay up and go to bed at the exact same time. So again, a strategy that I implement, and I've tried it with a few people, is I'll fast. I'm up from 5 and I don't go to bed or sleep until 10:30, 11. That is technically an 18-hour day, right? Calories don't give a fuck about 18-hour days. They don't care if you've had a 12-hour day or a 16-hour day or whatever it is. And what I've found is as soon as you eat first thing in the morning, you're hungrier quicker. Right? It's almost like you've turned on those digestive processes and your body's like, right, we've got the nutrients in, it's fire, right, let's go. So all I did again with myself is slowly implement fasting. So not that I eat between a set window, from about 1 o'clock until I go to bed. I've shortened my eating window from 18, 17 hours to 10 hours or 9 hours. So I can have bigger meals, be more satiated. Again, I try not to eat like a dick and still have good nutritious meals in there, but it may be a strategy you want to do, because if you're getting lacking in that sleep, it's going to lead you to crave those types of foods, quick, sugary foods. And the only time you shouldn't do that is if you don't have a manage on your blood sugar levels. Yeah.
I don't drink tea or coffee. I don't like it. So that's why I try to sleep at least 8 hours. If they are more, it's better. But in the morning, normally I drink like Coke or something like that, like to wake me up. If I want to cook that, it's other alternative.
I would maybe start with just the flavored water. Right? It's still going to be carbonated. It's probably you're used to just having that taste sensation. Heston Blumenthal said this, the chef, he was like, if you have a little bit of something every single day for 30 days, you'll learn to love it. Right, so he's talking about days. The same thing is if you go, you'll see all these dads always on Instagram, cut the sugar. So you cut out all the sugar for 2 weeks or 4 weeks, and then what happens is, if you did that and I told you to eat a piece of fruit, you'd be like, oh, fuck, that fruit's really, really sweet. Your taste buds have adjusted to it. The same way that everyone in here has adjusted to an eating pattern or routine to suit them. You can change that eating pattern and routine. There's going to be a transition period of 1 to 2 weeks for your body to get adjusted to it. So if you are going to use something like fasting and you're used to eating at 8 o'clock in the morning, comes 8 o'clock, like or half 8 or 9, your stomach's going to be rumbling. So you got to be part of the change. So for that, what I always start off with, I want people to have lukewarm water, right? With lemon, lime, simply because it's better for your digestive system. It's an easier way to wake it up. If you're not used to getting up at that time in the morning, like say you have an early flight, you're getting up at 3 in the morning and you eat something, your stomach's still technically asleep. You know, if you've trained and exercised and then you go and stick food in, what's happening is your body is then taking all the blood away from the muscles and it has to bring it down here to digest it. Okay, so it takes time. So where you put your meals matters. So for you, I'll say, how many would you have per day?
Just one.
Just one?
Yeah, it's like to give me some energy when I have a work.
There's no calories in it, so I think the association is that you think that it gives you energy, it just tastes good. So if you want to keep it in there, because it is calorie free, I'd say move to something later in the day. just give yourself something that's a wee bit easier on your stomach. I don't know about you, like I'll sort of have like a Coke Zero with my dinner, that's about it, but I notice how gassy and bloated it makes me feel. So if you do want to keep it in there and push it back, if not, try and have it every other day. It's not a big deal. It was the same thing I talked about coffee before, and this girl stood up in a seminar and was just like, "You're not taking my coffee off me." I'm not here to take coffee off you, I'm just telling you the benefits, the pros and cons of it. So to go on to that, if you look at your blood sugar levels, when you wake up in the morning, they're low, and then you're going to eat something to try and bring yourself up. If you eat something that's highly processed sugar, you're going to go up here. And when you crash, the time frame in this crash is dependent. So somebody may eat something really, really sugary, like Cocoa Pops, and be hungrier half an hour later. Somebody could eat Cocoa Pops and things, or Weetabix, and not be hungry for 2 hours or 3 hours. Somebody could go, "I'm not even hungry in the mornings." Okay? Now the process, your body ends up doing this all day, and it wants to be on this line. Right? So again, it depends on your level of foods. The good thing about this is, if you had, the first thing it's metabolized by the body is carbohydrates, then the next thing is fat, then the next thing is protein. So if you have those three together, then your spikes are only like that. Or what we're going to do in the 10-day challenge, if you have more fiber in your diet, it manages your blood sugar levels. If we manage our blood sugar levels better, we're less inclined to feel fatigued, tired, and reach for a bar of chocolate or sweet. We're not going to feel that hungry. And the exact same thing happens with caffeine intake. You wake up, I'm just going to actually graph here. You wake up in the day, you have coffee, you get this big energy spike, and at some point the coffee's going to wear off, and you're going to do one of two things. You're going to eat, or you're going to have another cup of coffee. And so what happens is, throughout this day you end up doing this. And I can personally tell you, from having 2-3 coffees again a day, I'm actually more tired than I was before having the coffees. So again, I look at things that I maybe need to address. If it is sugar intake, I know that I can be super strict and cut it out. If it's caffeine, I know I can reduce it. It's horrible to do, but it's one of those things. So for that, I'd maybe just put it more so, because there is no real caffeine in Diet Coke. So the association of you think that gives you the energy, there's nothing there. Like, so have it, but have it later in the day, I would say. To wake your body up with something different. So again, if you're at stage 2, you need to get a plan going forward, because you understand food, you understand calories, you just need an adjustment. Okay? And you obviously need to take action and implement it. And if you're here, which Marta likes telling us she is, then you need a challenge. You need something that's going to put you in your comfort zone, something that's going to completely change your methodology and what you do. For me, that came when I was a massive proponent of just proteins and fats. I only would have had carbs after training. And then I worked with a bodybuilding coach, and I had carbs 4 times a day. And it was completely new to me, but I felt great on it. And I thought, that worked as well. And the last thing worked. Right? And then it's just trying something completely different out of your scope. It could be a physical challenge. You may set yourself something that you want to do, whether it's climbing 7 peaks or whatever, but you need something that's going to occupy you, because when you get to this stage, you're going to get bored. I can tell you from personal experience, from training for about 4 or 5 years, I was like, is this it? Is this the rest of my life? Just squat, bench, multi press. This is why you all get excited when we do kettlebells or we do handstands. You're like, fuck, something new! And it's been proven that when you go on to something new, you get that phase of, you practice it, you get better at it, you feel a sense of achievement, and you're like, I want to keep practicing that. Whereas we know when we squat, bench, and deadlift, we're getting better, but the actual jumps and how good we're getting aren't as good as it was when we first started. So you need a challenge. So there's 1 or 2 people that I've already done this with, and for Marta, it's going to be a photo shoot, because she does everything perfect. So it's just like, well, if you eat perfect and food all the time, then here's a challenge for you. And like I said, it's going to be something that puts me shoot put you out of your comfort zone. Anything else? So again, stage 2, action, implement, adjust. Stage 3, challenge. You understand food, your day-to-day life is pretty structured, you know what you need to do. Okay. And again, if you have any specifics, if you do have allergens, sensitivities, chronic diseases, then come and speak to me as well. The coach will be able to deal with it, but if there's anything, just come and see me. And I can give you a specific meal plan. Going forward, here's your options. Clean eating, changing the single ingredient foods, probably more associated with paleo. Depending on how carb make you feel, carb backload, only having carbs after training. If you eat carbs and you feel tired and feel sluggish, then all I want you to do is have more proteins and fats, meats, vegetables, protein shakes, low calorie, low carb options until after you train. If you have a long ass day and you're on shitty fucking calories, you're only on like 1200 calories a day, and you've got an 18-hour day like me, you're up at 5, you go to bed at 11, you may want to try intermittent fasting. No special reason, again, everything, all these things just keep you in a calorie deficit. But the good thing is for you guys, and like I said, I know you just need rules and guidelines until you can get the stage 3, where you can be extremely flexible. Intermittent fasting, other things, what else that I like? Carb cycling. I get a lot of questions about this because Katrina says she did it for her photo shoot. And then everybody was like, what the fuck's carb cycling? I was like, you're here, you're fucking here. You don't even know what a carb is, but you want to cycle it? Okay, so again, it comes down to stages. This may be something. Another one with that is calorie cycling. I call that, for most points, weekend warriors. People who want to enjoy themselves at the weekend, overindulge, spend special time with friends, family. You can do that. Monday to Friday, calories are obviously restricted. Saturday, Sunday, you're still on that calorie model, but you can eat more. Okay, so you choose that day. But again, realize that anything you do, there's trade-offs. There has to be risk or reward with it. You have to eat like a monk, and then enjoy yourself. If you enjoy yourself all the time, then obviously it's going to be an issue. Okay? If any of you want to try these, I'll make it specific to what you're sort of doing now, whether it's calorie weight or something like that. So just have a chat with me. Cleaning, some of these just need to tidy it up a bit, get back to routine, get back to basics. Or like I said, if you prefer carbs after training, you feel like you earned them, you feel better about yourself, it helps you to sleep better. This one's actually pretty good for females because it does help you sleep a little bit better. Intermittent fasting, you have that long ass day. Don't go from eating at 8 AM in the morning to not eating until 1. You're not going to be able to do that. It's a stage thing. You need to slowly build it up hour by hour. And you're probably going to want to find stuff that suppresses your appetite. Water, coffee, actually going out, exercising, keeping yourself super busy. And then making sure you're not around food. The other stupid thing you can do, because a slide I talk about the power food scale, if you buy shitty food and it's in the house, it's been proven that you're going to fucking eat it. So don't buy it. Okay, so the power food scale, they did a study on M&Ms, and what they found was when M&Ms were within hand's reach in an office environment, you ate more. When they were out of hand's reach, you ate a little bit less. When they were in the cupboard, you ate even less. And I always say if they're not in the fucking house, you eat even less. Okay, so again, I'm not saying don't ever have these foods. You can't have these foods, but first off, what we want you to do, get the results. Then I get you on video and steal all the credit. Then you're going to get to hear. Yeah. Who wants to do a video, by the way? Someone's going to type. Any other questions? Anything personal? If you don't ask, you're never going to know. Any questions? No? Well, hopefully that's recorded and we'll post this up. Hopefully your phone's not dead, is it? And you can go over it. At some point, each one of these points is going to hit home. You probably don't. It's going to take a little bit of time to realize it. But hopefully you've turned around and you either know whether you've got a support network, the readiness to change, whether you're in a position to actually take action and do something with it. If not, it's not a bad thing. If you're not just in a great place, that doesn't mean you should give up. Because a lot of times people are like, I'm just not in the right place, I don't think I should train or whatever it is. training is a lifestyle thing in terms of how it makes you look better, feel better. And like I said to you about this good and bad cycle, it's going to get you back into the good cycle quicker than you sitting in the house procrastinating, eating yourself into a food coma, and then hating the way you look even more. Okay? I know that probably sounds like I want us to stay on and do that if you're not getting results, but generally, if you are a size 4 to a size 24, everyone needs to exercise, even if it's just for their mental health. Yeah. Good. So again, feel free to mail me. Woo! What's up in the comment? Yay!